Am I the idiot for telling a pregnant friend to get out of my car because she was annoying me? I was having lunch with some friends a few days ago. One of them, Carol, isn't really my friend. She's a friend of my friend. I never liked her. She's entitled and always criticizes everything she doesn't approve of. Anyway, I left early because I had to pick up my son at his grandparents', and Carol, who's 5 months pregnant, asked if I could give her a ride since she lives in the same neighborhood, and I said yes. I recently divorced my husband because I found out he had been cheating on me. On our way to my ex-parents, Carol started questioning me as to why I decided to divorce my ex since she has known him for years and he's a nice man. I politely told her I really didn't want to talk about it because I'm still heartbroken and extremely angry and I get emotional just thinking about it. But she started accusing me of not giving him enough attention as his wife, which, according to her, was probably the reason why he cheated. She also said that me going to work instead of being a stay-home wife 24/7 was the biggest mistake I had ever done in my life. I told her it's none of her business, and she called me a frigid witch. I lost it. I was fuming. I pulled over in front of a department store and told her to get the heck out of my car and then left her there. I was crying all the way to my ex-parents' house. That night I slept through my phone going off and found out that my ex-parents and my friends were angry with me for leaving a pregnant woman on the side of the road. What if bad things happened? I have to say I felt a bit guilty, but she was pushing my buttons and wouldn't listen when I politely asked her to stop. Besides, I didn't just leave her anywhere unsafe for a pregnant woman to be. I left her somewhere she could catch a cab. Am I the idiot? Update. First of all, I'd like to apologize for disappearing on you all. This whole divorce thing's been taking its toll on my mental health. Also, thanks to everyone who DM'd me. Thank you for your support and uplifting words. My ex didn't cheat on me with the pregnant lady. It's another woman. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. But he also blamed me for it. He reasoned that since I'd spent much time at work and already paid less attention to him, he's not entirely wrong to cheat. Funny, when he's the one who talked me into going back to work because the pandemic had been taking its toll on his job. He works at a 5-star hotel. Like WTF, right? Seriously, my father-in-law and mother-in-law are not horrible people. They've been supporting me through all this and don't blame me for divorcing their piece of poop son. The thing with the pregnant lady has got nothing to do with my husband cheating on me. The reason why she was so nosy about it was because they're good friends. They grew up in the same neighborhood, so my ex-parents know her family pretty well. What happened was, she told my ex-parents that I had ditched her by the roadside simply for asking me about my divorce. She didn't tell them how she insulted me and tried to blame it on me. So I told them everything about how she called me a frigid witch and that I deserved being cheated on. I also told them that I had left her at a department store, instead of in the middle of nowhere like she had told them. So I am now cool with them. They love and always treat me like their own daughter. Besides, I can't lose them for my son's sake. My own parents died when I was in my early 22nd, so I can't have my son deprived of a loving relationship with his grandparents. I also decided to cut some friends out of my life. I waited until last week when we were again having lunch together to confront them face to face. I didn't even bother phrasing it nicer. I was like, oh hey, remember what I did to that pregnant lady? Well, here's the truth. They tried to apologize, saying how awfully sorry they really were, but I wouldn't have any of it. I'm still in a dark place right now. As much as I hate my ex, I'm still much in love with him, unfortunately. There are days when I cry for hours because I miss him and feel like I'm ready to forgive him and try to talk things over. It's freaked up, but I'll get over it. Again, thank you and sorry I can't reply to your comment one by one. And if there's someone out there who's going through the same horrible thing like myself, remember this. It's not your fault that they cheated on you, so don't even bother questioning yourself as to what could have been the reason why they did it. They knew why. They're the one who cheated, not you. Was she wrong for kicking out this pregnant bitch? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for calling my grandmother insane for making a 16-year-old her arch nemesis? I, female 19, have a very complicated relationship with my paternal grandmother. She's generally sweet to everyone but is very mean to my younger brother, 16M. Always has been. I have a lot of theories as to why, but my grandma insists it's because my brother is immature, bratty, disrespectful, etc. My brother is more of a troublemaker than the rest of us, but he is by no means a bad kid. Anyways, my parents, older siblings and younger brother refused to speak to her at all, and although I really want to cut contact with the old lady, I felt a little bad for her considering she's all alone now. My family is fine with me visiting and talking to her occasionally. Last week, I picked my brother up from school when grandma called. She said it was an emergency, so I asked my brother if he minded if I drove over to her place real quick. He said it was okay, so we set off. My grandma kept spamming me with urgent texts the whole time. We finally get there and my brother decides to come in as well because grandma sent very alarming texts. But guess what? The emergency was that she ran out of freaking avocados. Not once did she mention avocados in her texts. My brother got pissed off because he missed his sports practice and said this is so freaking annoying and fuck your avocados. My grandma was shocked and called my brother a stupid bastard. She brought up his dad and how he was the result of an affair, 100% sure he isn't BTW. I got pissed off too because she was being extra mean for no reason and called my grandma insane and told her that she was really freaking crazy for having beef with a kid. Also, it's just avocados. We left after a little more arguing. My grandma keeps messaging me now saying I broke her heart and that she expected better from me. That I was incredibly rude and this isn't good for her health. I refused to respond to her texts and am planning on going no contact with her, but my older sister said I was in the wrong yesterday, which is making me doubtful. My sister says my brother insulted her first and she only retaliated. My sister also thinks my brother needed a stern talking to anyways. The only reason I'm doubtful is because my sister hates our grandma. That must mean something, right? Also, my grandma does have health issues which worsen when she's in stress, and she texted me only a couple of hours ago saying she's almost fainted a bunch of times BC of my brother and me. So am I the idiot for defending my brother and calling my grandma insane? Crazy. Update. Quick update for people who asked. It hasn't been long, but I doubt much is going to happen after the poop that happened, so I'm updating now. So my little brother decided to take matters into his own hands and almost made everything so much worse. Him and his friends were going to eat eggs. Yes, egg, my grandmother's house. My older brother found out and put a stop to it. We, other siblings and I, were pretty annoyed, but then my brother had a huge breakdown. He said some sad stuff, but basically he's literally been feeling physical pain since the incident. My mom ended up walking in on this and she was so mad. She was upset with my siblings and I for keeping this whole thing a secret. But I was more upset with my grandma. After I finished explaining the whole situation, Mom drove to my grandma's house and blew up. She made me and my brother come along, and holy, I've never seen my mom so angry. She told my grandma that she was tired of her behaving like a child and that she should have been grateful I still talked to her. She called my grandma a jealous witch who needed to get over herself. She then forced her to apologize to my brother, and my grandma apologized to me but refused to even look at my brother. This made my mom angrier and she made some very true observations about my grandma's personality. Then we left. My grandma was shocked the entire time. My mom never shouts. She's what some consider a pushover. But OMG y'all. Anyways, Mom apologized to us as well for some reason, then got everyone ice cream. My dad is coming back tonight. Mom told him everything. And he apologized for not being here as well. They both feel guilty, but I don't think they understand that we didn't tell them for their own sakes, not because we didn't trust them. Either way, brother has a therapy appointment this week to talk about everything plus work on the whole egging houses thing, but other than that, that's it. My grandma hasn't texted me since my mom yelled at her. I touched on this in the comments, but the reason she dislikes my brother so much is because he is quite literally a copy of my mom, and my mom is stunning. My mom was in beauty competitions as a kid, and so was my grandma. My grandma never won a single one while my mother won a couple. That's what stemmed her hatred for my mom. It's crazy how this all ties back to something so toxic. Also, my grandma loves being in control, so when my mother refused to allow my brother to participate in these dumbass beauty pageants, my grandma went crazy and accused my mom of cheating on my dad. In conclusion, I'm really freaking stupid for wanting to give my grandma a chance despite knowing all this. Like I'm going insane wondering why. Anyways, thanks for the supportive comments. I do realize now that grandma is not my responsibility. Not the idiot. I am so glad that your mother stood up for you. Your grandmother is truly toxic, immature, and quite controlling. Hopefully, your brother will benefit from therapy and completely cut your grandmother out of your life. I think your whole family should go no contact with her. She will live to regret it very soon. Am I the idiot for kicking my son out after he cut down my trees? I'm the father of a male 18, who started choosing friends over his future when he was a sophomore. It took him nearly going to jail during senior year for him to snap out of it. He went from being a straight A student to barely passing. He only started preparing for his SAT a week beforehand, which is evident in the score he got. He applied to some colleges, none of which were his dream ones, and managed to get into a few. He ended up coming to us and choosing one of the worst colleges on his list and saying his friends were going there. That set me off because he should not make decisions based on his friends. My wife and I told him that if he took a year off and continued to get his life back together, regardless of his new SAT score at the end of the year, we would pay for his college. But we wouldn't pay for him to hang out with his friends. He wasn't happy about taking a year off, even though we convinced him a year is nothing in the grand scheme of things, but he didn't mention it for a while. My wife and I went on a 2-week-long trip, and while we were away, nearly 10 trees in our backyard were cut down. They were some sort of sandalwood trees planted only God knows how long ago. We had left our daughter behind with our son, but they stayed a few nights with their uncle, so we instantly thought some random person cut them down to sell them. Our daughter secretly said she had an idea of what happened but didn't elaborate. Quick security check shows our son hired a company to, badly and hastily, cut the trees, and he cut them into logs and planks with my equipment, then sold it to strangers. We ended up arguing, him saying he needs money for college. I kicked him out and he went to stay with another family member. My wife is upset and says I'm awful. I appreciate my son trying, but this was not the right way. Am I the idiot? It's been a while since the last post and a lot of things have happened. Thanks a lot for everyone's input. It really helped give insight on my son and his behavior and helped when making decisions moving onward. An important thing to start off with is, we got mature oaks planted. There were 6 of them put in and they look amazing already. They cost a fortune, a crazy fortune. The money my son got from the sandalwood covered around half the price and I coughed up the remaining. Despite paying for them, they belong to the conservation committee, who are, understandably, upset about the previous trees being cut down. The oaks can't be cut down and they will be coming annually to check on how the trees are doing. Now on to my son. In my previous post I mentioned that his punishment for cutting down trees purely for money was to use said money for the new trees and formally apologize to the conservation committee as well as donate his time to them for a year. The money has been spent and he apologized. The apology was quite embarrassing. The conservation committee aren't a joke. They treated him harshly, haha. For the past 2 weeks he has been working alongside them. planting trees, bushes, landscaping the park, artificial habitats, and more. Surprisingly, the committee started liking my son and offered him an official job starting September, which he is taking. After realizing the reason for my son's misbehavior was mental issues, his punishment for disrespecting my property was changed to agreeing to everything I do regarding him getting help. After seeing a therapist, I was told my son has been silently suffering with a form of trauma for around 8 years. I only found out after family counseling that the cause of his trauma was from seeing my ex-wife cheating on me and then being manipulated by her for years after. Needless to say, my ex does not live with me anymore. I feel so stupid for not seeing it earlier. I don't even care about the cheating, but how did I not realize my ex babying my son was just a front? Anyway, my son is doing slightly better and has picked up swimming again. He's agreed to a gap year and will be retaking his SAT. He also dropped his friends and took a drug test that showed nothing weird. It's too early to be happy, but I am. Everyone has been more open since my ex left. My son has made it his goal to get into his dream college for architecture, while my daughter wants to go to a music festival. Haha. I don't think there's anything left to add. For people wondering, my son made nearly $35,000 from the wood. Thanks again, and I hope you have a nice day. No idiots here. It sounds like it all worked out in the end, at least. Silver linings and all that. I'm glad your son's getting the help he needs and is excited about his future plans. Own happiness. Your son is doing better. The tree issue was resolved and he impressed the conservation committee enough to secure what I'm guessing is a pretty good job. Wishing him all the best with his college quest. Do you think this father should have realized his son was suffering? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend I'd like her to dress up more when we go out? I, male 32, began dating my girlfriend, female 26, in February of last year. Just a few weeks later, we went into lockdown, so we did not go out many places before we had to have all of our dates at our houses. In July, we moved in together. She works from home, so she wears joggers or yoga pants, and big hoodies or sweaters all day, which is fine. However, now that restrictions in our area are beginning to lift, we're going out more, and she is still wearing what I consider loungewear to go out. We went out to a nice restaurant with our friends, and everyone else was dressed semi-formal, and my girlfriend was wearing leggings with a hole in them and a sweater with a stain on it. She also dresses in these sorts of clothes for dinners with my family. I tried to be subtle and offered to take her clothes shopping, but she said no, so I was a bit more direct and told her we should get some nice clothes for her to go out in, and again, she said no. So I finally had to tell her that I felt uncomfortable and slightly embarrassed when we went out and her attire didn't match what was appropriate for the venue. I made sure to tell her that I don't mind her wearing yoga pants, joggers, hoodies, but when she went out, she should try and look a bit more presentable. She began screaming at me and told me if I was so embarrassed by her I didn't have to take her anyway. She even went as far as to tell me that I should just sleep with my best friend's girlfriend if I found her so disgusting. I never wanted to insult her personally. I just wanted to suggest she save the comfy clothes for home and dress up a little when we go out in public. Am I the idiot? ETA, she does not have anger issues. Her response to this was incredibly off character for her, which is why I am asking if I am Thhe here. Edit. Wow, am I glad I posted here. I'm a moron, so it never occurred to me that this could be a mental health, weight gain, self-esteem issue. I'm going to try to find a delicate way to talk to her about this. Thank you all so much. Update. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who commented. This community may very well have saved my relationship. I spoke to my girlfriend first. I apologized to her and then I told her that she seemed to get uncharacteristically upset at the comment I made, and if there was anything else she wanted to talk about. It took a bit of coaxing, but eventually she opened up to me and told me that she had gained weight during quarantine and felt uncomfortable in her body. She said she didn't want to buy new clothes because she felt embarrassed admitting to me that she was a larger size now, but she didn't like the way her old clothes looked on her. I told her, honestly, that to me she still looked as beautiful as when we began dating, and that I had not even noticed her fluctuating weight. We have begun a workout regimen at home. It's like CrossFit, but the workouts are only 15 minutes, 20 minutes, so we do one in the morning and one at night. We've also, sadly, cut out all the junk food in our house. It sucks, but luckily she's a really good cook and makes zucchini pasta and kale chips not suck. She said it's too soon to see a difference, but I personally think she already looks like she's getting leaner. To answer a question a lot of people were asking, about the comment she made about why don't I go sleep with my best friend's girlfriend. No, I did not tell her I wish you dressed more like X or anything like that. Her ex cheated on her and slept with his friend's girlfriend. I guess when she got upset it's just something she jumped to saying. No idiots here. This is such a happy update. Go hug your girlfriend for me and tell her to hug you back. Well done for realizing that while you didn't really make a mistake you could help and help in the right way. More people should do this.